Hi everyone, welcome to another Hattons live SkillsCast, where I unlock some of the secrets of detailing your model railways and customising your locomotives, wagons and more. Today we're looking at adding loads to our wagons, individualising them and making them look a lot more like the vehicles that plied their trade across the UK now for almost 2 centuries. We've got some basic skills that I'll be showing you today in how to get started on fitting these wagons up. I've got a selection of 00 and Engage vehicles that you can see here in front of me, but all the skills you see here today are applicable across every single model railway scale. I've not got many tools today either, so this is items you'll probably already have in your collection. I have a trusty steel rule, I have a small scalpel, I have an old paintbrush and a pencil. The only other thing I'm using today is some PVA glue and one of our Hattons wagon load kits, which I'll cover throughout the stream. So I'll give you a bit of a demo of fitting up some of these wagons with authentic looking loads, tell you some of the top tips and the do's and don'ts as I go along. But if you do have any questions, ask them straight through the chat and I'll be answering them as I can throughout the stream. As always, I've got my trusty close-up camera too, ready to show you some of the particular details up close and personal. But do check out the link in the description for more information on the range that I'll be covering today. We have a wide variety of these kits for all 3 major scales, N, 00 and O, and covering a lot of different loads that you'll see across the UK railway network. Today, I've decided to go with some coal wagons. It's the one that a lot of people see, and it's also a really transferable skill, so you can put real coal into your locomotive bunkers or tenders too. So let's get started. Let's not hold back. Let's get stuck in. So we are starting with our coal load that we see here, and I'll just let you get a bit of a closer look at that. So you can already see how it starts with the loads. And then this tip is, if you just want a little bit of a load in the bottom of your wagons, this is a great way to get started by adding a very small amount to the bottom, so you're not using too much of the coal. If you do want to fill it up, as mentioned there, Onno Mulder's already beaten me to the tips, and I'll be covering that in a little while, filling up your wagons and using some filler material too. But if you don't want to use any filler material, you just want a little bit of coal in the bottom of your wagons, it couldn't be easier. So I have my pre-made mix. This is a mix of PVA glue, half and half with water, with a small amount of washing up liquid in there too, which breaks down the glue. So that's the important bit to remember, which is a good mix there. So you definitely need to get your mix right of the glue and the water and the washing up liquid. So I'll just repeat it again to make sure you remember it. It's half and half, PVA and water, and then a tiny drop of washing up liquid in there too. And this couldn't be easier to put a small load in the bottom of your wagon. All I'll need for this is my brush. So I'll put my wagon there, put the brush in the glue. Don't get too much on there, just keep it quite safe and steady. And then straight into the bottom of the wagon where you want your load to go. This is ideal if you just want a small covering of coal or any of our other loads in the bottom of the vehicle. Not so much filling the vehicle up, that I will cover in the second part of my stream, but just to add a very small amount. Maybe it's just about to be unloaded or on a very small trip. You'll see there that the glue is already starting to dry, so don't leave it too long before adding your load. Now, you can do this with a teaspoon or similar should you wish. I always prefer just to get the jar, tip in a small amount as per so, and then just shake that round. And you can see there that's already starting to form and set in the bottom of the wagon. So we've not quite filled it up there. And this is great for that smaller style. And then we'll open up our wagon kit for the next part before that starts to dry. And in here, you get a full set of instructions for everything I'm discussing today. You get big bag of coal or one of the other loads, depending on which bag you buy. 2 syringes, one of which we're about to use. And 2 pieces of cardboard, pre-cut and pre-set, that we'll come back to shortly. We don't quite need the cardboard yet, but you'll see it again soon. So we'll just take one of those syringes for now. And what we're going to do is just put a little layer of glue on the top there. So we'll go into our mix and pull up the syringe, fill that with glue, and then straight down onto our wagon. Just making sure we get a good cover in there to make sure that fully mixes in and sets. The reason we're using PVA glue with the little mix of water and washing up liquid is it will dry completely clearly as well. So whilst it looks a little wet at the moment, it will dry off very quickly. And indeed, as they say, here's one I prepared earlier. So I will roll that model out of the way and pull in my other coal wagon that I have fitted up here for you. So you can see the glue's dried and dried completely clear, so you can't see any of the glue marks at all there. This is just a small load again, so I've not filled the wagon up completely. But you can see now that we have filled this coal wagon as it should be, and it's ready to go back onto our layout. So we've got a couple of wagons there ready to go now. And as Onno Mulder said before, there is another option you can do, which if you don't want your load to be permanent, or you want to have a wagon that's full and you don't quite want to use the same amount of a load, this is where the cardboard comes in from our wagon load kits. So we'll take our next wagon here and we'll get this ready to go. We don't need the syringe just for now. And what we'll do with this particular wagon is we'll do it as is mentioned there. We'll fill it with something just to make the layer at the top a little higher, and then we'll add a removable coal load to that, and then you can have a vehicle on your layout that can arrive at a depot. You can take the coal load out, and then you can use it either as a filled wagon or an unfilled wagon too. So as you may have mentioned, or as you may have guessed, I've already got a piece of foam pre-cut to the size of this particular wagon. So I will put that in there. Just make sure that fits in. You can, if you wish, use any material you like. I prefer to use foam just as it's a bit easier to remove and won't damage the inside of your model. But at the same time, you can add other material if you want to put a little bit of weight in there. It is going to be covered up, so you won't see it. So I've just put that out of the way. And now we're going back into our wagon load kit, as what we're going to do is make a removable top for our wagon. So we'll come back to our pieces of cardboard. Now, these are designed to sit inside the wagon, so you will need to measure the inside of your wagon. Hence, we've got the steel ruler. We'll just measure that there. I've got it as 83 millimeters by 29 millimeters. So we will mark that out on our cardboard. And this is just to make sure that the load we're going to be putting in, the removable load, does cover the full extent of the wagon. Otherwise, we may have a gap in the top, which might look a little unusual, shall we say, with a wagon that's half full running around. It might be a bit of a bizarre one there. So I'll just draw those lines on there, absolutely parallel, so we're getting a straight edge. Just use the side of your steel rule there to make sure that's absolutely straight as it should be. And all we're doing here is just preparing the cardboard for the cut that we're going to make. If you do it towards the edges as well, you have got a lot of extra cardboard left for you to do many other vehicles. And all we need to do now is just get our knife, and obviously being careful with sharp instruments, just one straight cut down the edge of the knife, put it on quite a bit of pressure. We'll go through again just to make sure it's come clear. and then just on the other side so we can free this piece of cardboard. And then this will give us a straight top for the coal to sit on. And now we come to the slightly fun and slightly messy bit. I'll just give that one more cut down there to make sure that is clear. There we are, and then break that away. Maybe one more cut required, actually. Just being quite firm, making sure we're going through all of that cardboard there. And we'll break that away. And our top is ready to go. So what we're going to do now is put some coal on the top of that, and then it will be ready to place into our wagon. And you can see there already where we're going with this idea. The wagon here, you can see, already has a full top. If we have a little bit of coal on that, that will then be able to be removed if you slide your finger down the side of it, or indeed a small knife or a screwdriver or another object like so. So you'll be able to take that in and take it out at your leisure if you did want to change your wagons over. So going back to our paintbrush, just get a little bit more of our PVA, water and washing up liquid mix. Put that straight on the top. Make sure you cover all the cardboard so you get an even covering. That's covered the whole lot there. And then the slightly messy but slightly fun bit, I would recommend doing this on top of a surface you can clean afterwards, is just pouring the coal over the surface here. So I'll get that flat on there. And again, just using a little bit at a time. And then just shaking that up and down to make sure you get quite an even covering. You can see it there starting to stick to where we've got the PVA glue. It does take a couple of goes just to make sure you've got an even covering, and you can pick up a little bit with your fingers as well, just to make sure you've not missed any gaps on the vehicle there. And again, leave that to dry. And as they say, again, here is one I prepared earlier. I got this ready just a little bit before the stream. So that is ready to place into our wagon. Just making sure we're careful to not dislodge any of the load that's on there. That should just slide in nicely. Might be a little bit too wide, but if we press that down, it's not quite dried, so you can see the importance of doing the edges there. But we've used a very small amount of coal to create the illusion that it is a full wagon, as you can see. So you can see the difference there between the part-filled wagon, where we've just put the coal straight down onto the surface, and the fully loaded wagon behind it, where we're using a little bit of foam or something similar underneath to create a fully loaded vehicle. And everything you need that you saw there is in the wagon load kit, apart from the PVA glue and some of the tools which you may already have in your collection. It's a great way to start customizing some of the vehicles on your layout. It's a little bit messy, so make sure you're doing it on a clean surface and a surface you can clean up afterwards. But at the same time, if you do want to add a little bit more character to your vehicles, if you do want to enhance your layout with some really basic skills and have a little bit of fun in the process as well, it is getting your hands dirty and adding some real life and character to vehicles. And it's not just extending to coal either. You can put various different ballast or lime loads into your wagons. You can use this skill to add removable coal loads into your tender. Although they are branded wagon load kits, you can use them with locomotives, with road going vehicles too. And there's lots of different ways you can put this skill in. If you do have modern image wagons, you can use the ballast to enhance your ballast carrying fleet there, especially if you're turning up at a ballast disposal depot. You can unload your wagons, as we mentioned, with the removable load, and then you can take that out and suddenly you've got empty wagons to head back and go down the line. So do have a bit of a look at the range. I've put the full links in the description for you. There's a variety of the wagon load kits for different loads, including granite, sand, and coal, and they're available for N-gauge and 00 gauge modelers. The full range of the Hattons constructor equipment is suitable for N, 00, and O gauges, and you can use those to line your wagons as well if you are filling them a little bit, but not quite as much. But if you are filling them up, it's really economical to get the cardboard, cut it down to size, fill it with a little bit of foam or something heavier if you want to add a bit of weight, and then you can just put a thin layer on the top, as you see there. I'll just let you get one last look at those vehicles so you can see the fully loaded plank wagon here that we've just filled up, and then you can see the wagon that we prepared previously with a lighter load inside too. You can of course paint the cardboard before should you wish. I believe one of you's put that in the comments there too, and if you did want to make sure that you didn't quite have the edges showing, as you can see here, you can pre-paint that beforehand. But if you get a good covering of glue, you will get that fully covered there, and it doesn't take too long to dry either. That wagon is pretty dry now and will be pretty safe to put straight back onto your layout and into service. So I hope, as ever, I've shown you some of the skills and just how easy it is to start enhancing some of your models. It adds a real amount of character to see these vehicles with fully authentic looking loads in them. It can add a real purpose to your model railway, including showing different locomotives hauling different trains. It's a transferable skill too. You can learn it on wagons and it will enhance older models and newer models too. But you can then start filling your locomotive tenders and coal bunkers. You can fill road vehicles as well, such as coal lorries out there. So once you've started on wagons, you've still got little bits of cardboard over, you can move them on. Thank you very much, Colwich Junction. I hope I've inspired you to get some of these wagon loads now, and they are available right now on our website too. So check out that link in the description. Do get your tools ready. If you do need a steel ruler or a scalpel or anything like that, we do have them available on our website, so we can get you started on doing some modeling. And as you can see, I've been here, what, just over 15 minutes or so, and we've filled quite a few wagons. We've got a few bits ready here, so you don't need hours and hours to enhance your models. If you fancy a quick little project after you come home from work, or you have a spare hour in the evening and you want to really individualize some of your stock, this is a great way to not spend a lot of time, but just slowly but surely work through your wagon fleet should you want, or just enhance one or two of your vehicles. So do take a look at the kits. Do take a look at getting started in this. If you want any more tips or advice, do put a comment on the videos below, and I will give you more tips on adding these loads to the wagons. If there's any more SkillsCasts you'd like to see, if there's any other skills you'd like to learn, again, leave a note in the comments and I'll consider it for your future video. Otherwise, make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the Facebook page for more videos like this. I'll be bringing you more SkillsCasts and more details there on how to enhance your models with some really basic skills. There'll be more model overviews. There'll be more loco profiles as well. So check out our website for a full information on the forthcoming live streams. Otherwise, I hope you've enjoyed the show. I hope I've inspired you to do a little bit of modeling with the Hattons wagon load kits, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.